Well, you could...
The Macho Man, Randy Savage. What do you have there,
Let me
Mr.
read the sign up there. Hold that end up there. It makes me happy, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Macho Man is the champion, yeah. Wow, take it away. Unbelievable. Right there. What are you, head waiter? Huh? Don't unbelievable things happen.
Could be.
Now, here's what it goes. Tito Santana, 1986. Hulk Hogan, 1986. Winning the belts from you is going to be easier than, hold this, taking candy away from a baby. Unbelievable. I could take all the candy and pour it on your head right now. But I ain't gonna. I'm gonna pour it over mine. Because I ain't got no dignity. No, I don't. Not when it comes to winning a World Heavyweight Championship belt. Aren't I something, man? Did you see me out here putting candy on my head?
Yes, Macho Man.
Here,
Macho.
kiss right there.
Macho Man.
Okay, yeah.
Elizabeth has been a big part of your success.
Yeah.
Certainly, she is a very attractive addition to the World Wrestling Federation. You give her a lot of credit, do you not?
Why shouldn't I put candy on your head right now? But I could take it right behind myself and throw it right on Elizabeth. Or I can take these glasses and smash them against my head.
Don't.
Show the intensity that I want. The World Heavyweight Championship belt. Elizabeth, get out of here right now. Get out of here.
How can you dismiss her like that?
I dismiss her like I'm dismissing Hulk Hogan, yeah. Hulk Hogan, man, understand that the belt will fall in 86. The World Heavyweight Championship belt will fall in 1986.
Now, is that a prediction or is that a promise?
It's a promise, yes it is. And I promise to you, the public out there, that you'll have a champion that you can be proud of. The world's greatest athlete. Ask Tito Santana what he is. He's a stepping stone to the World Heavyweight Championship belt. And I guarantee you, Elizabeth, and anybody out there, don't bet against the Macho Man. Not this year.
Thank you, Randy Savage. Randy Savage certainly has...
We had, say what? A whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's house...
Word attack skills and vocabulary too. Comprehension of this edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary and like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
No, your phone is not broken, or your iPod or computer or whatever you subscribe to the podcast through. Ringtime Pro Wrestling has another show just 2 days after the last show. We ain't got nothing better to do, man. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. And it's been some more wrestling. Keisha, say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all? I hope everybody's doing well. Not as irritated as I am. I'm done with everything right about now.
We did not get in a NXT preview show because in doing our recaps and catching up for the week with the WWE and other stuff, we did not really take too much time on the actual NXT brand itself.
Right.
But we got time to do a recap show. Because when we published our earlier show this week, it was before Unstoppable. NXT TakeOver Unstoppable.
Right.
Well, Unstoppable has concluded. We've had an episode of SmackDown, which not too much happened, but I'll gloss over a little bit. And we're here. We may not talk Lucha Underground today because we're going to talk some TNA. It'll be a short show. I don't know if this will be a Spreaker exclusive. It might hit Podomatic. I don't know just yet. But if it's Spreaker exclusive, that means it still is going to be on YouTube. It'll still be on SoundCloud. And it'll be on Stitcher Radio. So, everybody sit back, relax. And we're going to talk about this wrestling, man. We talk about wrestling.
Of course.
Wrestling.
Okay.
Anyway. Before we get into all of that, Ringtime Pro Wrestling has working with Audible.com. If you like to read and want to read some stuff, but don't necessarily have time to read, boy. Because I know y'all busy, and y'all schedule, a lot going on. So, how about you download a free audiobook on us, get a 30-day free trial from www.audibletrial/ringtimeprowrestling, and listen to an audiobook. I'd recommend going to Audible, listen to about 10 minutes, see what you like on the sample, and then get your free download, right? Got a wide variety of subjects and things that you can listen to. Books from comedy, books on sports, religion, fiction, whatever you want. You know what I mean? You like Game of Thrones? They got Game of Thrones, Keish. I'm just saying. Catch up on them thrones. Get ahead of them thrones. Whatever you want to do. If you Republican, Democrat, you want a book on Hillary, Sarah Palin, it don't matter. They got it. So check it out. Like I said, www.audibletrial.com/ringtimeprowrestling and get your 30-day free trial and your one free download on us. And now back to the show. Keish, NXT Unstoppable. Very solid 2-hour pay-per-view, right?
Very.
Incredible. Opening match, we expect this will be a 3-way dance between Finn Balor, Hideo Itami. I still want to call him Kenta. Like, it's kind of funny. With him, I guess because his name is kind of... Well, with Finn, it's like I've just given up on Devitt. And he's Finn, right?
Yeah.
Came in at the exact same time, but I've adjusted more than the other with the name.
Well, I mean, they call him Itami. They just call him Itami. They never call him by the first name. They usually just call him Itami. That's what they've been calling them. That's what they call him the whole show, so...
Right.
That's what I call him.
So,
I just call him Itami.
The mama named Kenta, I'm going to call him Kenta. Anyway, no, okay. So, yes, Itami apparently was bum rushed before the show, so he did not get to participate. So it was Finn Balor versus Tyler Breeze. Very good match. I love the opening on both of them. Very good theater. Very, very entertaining. Tyler had the 4 girls and the models. If you notice, one of the models was former TNA knockout Sarita.
Right.
So apparently she's down in NXT getting some work. Balor, man, oh my God, that demon entrance in that eye on the back in the paint. Incredible.
It's creepy. That's my best way of putting it. It's creepy. That will haunt you in your dreams.
I'm recording. You can't be coming in and out. That interests me. Whew.
It's creepy. It'll haunt you in your dreams. That's all I'm saying.
I can't wait to see it in the WWE arenas, in the bigger arenas. And what happens when that thing hits WrestleMania?
It's going to take a minute for him to get down that ramp. I can tell you that. Because those WrestleMania ramps are long. It's going to take him a minute to crawl all the way. But, hey, it works for him. So, we'll see. But
it's crazy. Like I said, very solid match. Did take a lot of time. All the matches actually were very short in time. I think the longest match was the Sasha Banks Becky Lynch match, was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But very, very crisp matches. When I watch NXT, I watch it from like a talent scout kind of point of view. And I think, how will this play on a bigger stage? And how will this play on the main roster? Both of them got a lot of potential. I think Finn has the potential to go to that main event. You know what I mean? Tyler, I don't see that right now with him. I see him as a mid-card, IC champion kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, 3 or 4 years ago, I was saying the same thing about Dolph Ziggler. I was like, okay, this is where he is. I like him in this spot, and this is what I think of him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, as recent as 2 years ago, I'm like, oh, this guy should be on top all the time. So, he got some growth. You know what I mean? I think that character is short-term right now.
But it's possible. I mean...
But I think, with some tweaks, I think he can stretch it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
With some slight tweaks. But we'll see how that goes. Balor gets the win, so he is now the new #1 contender for the NXT title.
Awesome.
He's been in this spot before, but let's see how that works because there's some other things that are mitigating in the way of him necessarily just going ahead and getting a shot against Kevin Owens right away, right?
Right.
Next up, Bayley and Charlotte defeated Emma and Dana Brooke. About a 6-minute match. Solid work. Wasn't too crazy. I'm very interested to see what Bayley and Charlotte both do on the main roster. Emma, I think, is back at NXT because they figure she needs to work on some things.
Yeah.
Dana is a young lady who's going to be figuring it out. Bayley, I think her character is quirky, but she has the in-ring stuff to back it up to make her a solid player on the main roster. Charlotte should have been gone. I'm still trying to figure out why she's still down there, and maybe it's because I don't think they want to bring her up on the main roster until they're ready for her to compete for the title.
Yeah, I don't think that she should be brought up until she's at that point either. Like, of course, I agree she should have been taken out of NXT and into the main roster, but I don't want her to be in the main roster and then she just kind of fades into the background either. Like, if she's going to be on the main roster, she needs to be a main player and everything.
The way the main roster books the women's division, I don't think they have a slot for her per se, because right now the feud is Nikki Bella, Paige, Naomi with Tamina as Naomi's backup. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll create like a fatal 4-way eventually at some point, but what we're doing now is Paige and Nikki will have this tension between them because they can't stand each other, but they both got to shut down Tamina and Naomi, which is probably the more immediate threat. Okay. All the other divas are laying dormant. Natty's not doing anything.
No.
Like, she's busy working with her husband and his tag team. Bree, they've kind of pushed her off to the side with Daniel. You haven't seen Summer Rae in a while. You haven't seen Layla. You haven't seen Alicia Fox. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, those, I don't know how much they'll transition those people, right?
Right.
So, they're not going to get... So, if I brought Charlotte on, who would she get involved with, and what would it do for her?
She wants to have
right now, the idea would be there's no guy to put her with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So right now, the idea I think is just to let her work at NXT, keep working those matches because in NXT they have a structured women's division with a lot of wrestling going on. Like, it was 2 matches on this show that got legit time, right?
Right.
Where you don't really see that on the main roster WWE show. You get one Divas match, 5 or 6 minutes, bathroom break for most people, and it's over. So, yeah, I think that's why she's still there, because I don't think they have anything that's, for lack of a better word, big enough for her to come to the main roster for yet. Baron Corbin took on Rhyno and defeated Rhyno. I think this is Rhino's job, right?
Right. Yeah.
Rhyno is going to take on some of the big, scary guys and help them get over.
Pretty much. I think that's what he's supposed to do at this point. It was a good match, though. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, he'll teach them how to work as like a power guy in wrestling with some limitations, and how to maximize, your big move and to set up that big spot. I think they're going to learn a lot of that from Rhyno. Then we got into the championship matches. Blake and Murphy defended their styles successfully against Enzo, Amore, and Colin Cassidy. This is what I would say about Blake and Murphy. I like them. I just don't know how their gimmick would play on the main roster yet.
I think they would have to change it. Personally, I really think they would have to change it.
They're smaller, but they're big enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're bigger than the Wolves were. I like their athleticism. I like some of the things that they do. I think if they had, like, a good manager, a good mouthpiece for them, and maybe a male manager that would get involved a little bit, like a male heel manager that Jimmy Hart kind of could be a guy. I really think Jim Cornette, because I don't know what, when I look at them, I think like Midnight Express.
Right.
When I look at this team, not that they have anything that the Midnight Express can say. It's just something about, like, I think they're young, they're good looking, but they're smaller. But I think they can sell that technically proficient tag team role, where if they work good and did good, smart tags, good tag team wrestling, they would be a hard team to beat, and they could probably overcome any challenge. And then if they have a manager that helps them cheat, that would be the X factor that exalts them to trying to get the belts. Enzo Amore, I think, is very talented. I think he's very good on the mic. I like the Jersey gimmick, and you can't teach that.
No.
SAWFT soft.
Yeah.
Okay, I dig it. The arena with chant, I don't know how that necessarily plays on a bigger stage either.
No.
Colin Cassidy, I like. I think he works good as a big man.
Yeah. Okay.
He does the big things, like he needs to work on stepping over the rope. I like the big boot that he does. He's very tall. He's 7 foot. I probably would try to put a little bit more meat on his frame and take him out of the trunks, put some long pants on him. Not totally diesel him, you know what I mean? Maybe cut his hair a little bit, but I would let him watch some Diesel tapes and some Scott Hall tapes. And, you know, take some things, but not everything, right? Probably somebody else I probably would let him watch. I don't know. Kane. Let him watch some, you know, something like that. Agile, big men. And, you know, try to find some moves that he can do that'll wow people for that size. But, future bright for both of those. Very solid match. They sold you all the way to the end. I thought Enzo and Colin had a chance to take those belts, but they ended up losing. So that was good. Divas title match. Sasha Banks, not Divas, sorry, women's title versus Becky Lynch. 15 minutes, very good match.
Awesome match. It was perfect.
Yeah. What do you think of Sasha? Like, I think she's greatly improved from where she started.
Sasha?
And she wasn't bad to begin with, but I think Sasha, yeah.
Yeah. She's 100 times different. Let me put it like that. She's way more different than what she was when she started. And I think she's improved greatly. Personally, I don't know how I would feel about her being on the main roster. Personally, I think she still has some more work to do. But I think as NXT champion right now, women's champion, she's filling the role very nicely. She definitely is working her tail off to get everything on point with it. Like, to me, she's greatness at this point. But
yeah. I think she's always had the verbal skills.
Yeah. Yeah. She's always had that.
Always there.
Her in-ring ability is starting to improve as well, though. It's starting to.
Yeah, no. She's incredibly technically proficient. I think those serious matches with Charlotte really helped her out. I also think that she's, listened to a lot of people that work with the right trainers. Having Sarah Del Rey down there as the head trainer of the women, I think has really helped push that along. It's to the point now, she's supposed to be kind of a heel, but watching her work and seeing the work, you almost want to cheer. And I've seen a lot of people starting to cheer for her.
Right.
Like, you want to cheer for her. And, she got that I'm the boss, Miss Banks. You know what I mean? And people dig it. Yeah. She's an attractive lady. I think she sells it all. And, like, I think Wednesday night, she won. It was gutsy. Like, you could tell that, like, she was dinged. Her shoulder wasn't all there. You know what I mean? She was hurting. Becky worked that arm bar really good and worked the arm, and she gutted it out. Like, she gutted that win out. She, hit her submission hold. And you could tell, like, that was a hard work win.
Right.
And that's hard to boo that. Even if you know that she's supposed to be on the bad guy side of things, it's hard to boo that kind of effort. or dismiss that kind of effort. Like, it was very good effort.
You can't, because if you dismiss that kind of effort, then you're dismissing all the hard work that she put into even making it happen. You're dismissing her as a wrestler and as a person. You're dismissing everything that she has given into making that work. You know, you just can't do that to her because it's not fair. It's not fair to her, and it's not fair to everything she's put into making this happen. Like, I would never, I wouldn't suggest anybody does that. And no one should do that to her. You know?
No.
So I commend her. She gets every level of applause from me for that. For just, you know, gutting it out and just keeping it together and to just finish and, you know, making it look good at the same time. Because sometimes you can tell when a person is struggling, but she never showed signs of that. You know, there was never a time where she just looked like, oh my God, can she finish? Is it possible? Like, is she about to pass out? Is she just going to give in and give up? Like, that never happened with her. And I'm glad. I'm glad that she never showed any signs of, you know, I'm going to use the word, any signs of weakness. So that, to me, was the awesome part of all of this.
Right. Next match. Kevin Owens defends his title against Sami Zayn, which ends in a no contest because the match goes out of control. I like the booking of this match early on. I like Sami taking the fight back to Kevin. I like Kevin actually being in danger at some points. I don't know if I like Sami end up getting squashed eventually later. Well, I won't call it a squash. I think what it is, I think we're still... Sami's going to be a sympathetic babyface, right?
Yeah.
And he was selling, and he sold to a point of, hey, we got to shut it down. And it became dangerous to other people. Right?
Yeah.
So, that's what it was. What were your impressions of the match?
I thought it was good, but I really, from the beginning, I had my concerns. I did. From the beginning of the match, I had my concerns for Sami Zayn and his arms and shoulder, and you know, I always get concerned about injuries, you know, how they play out in matches, how good is he right now, how is this going to work with them two together, you know, but it wasn't so bad. To me, it still played out to be a good match. I thought it was awesome. And personally, I didn't think that it made a difference. I didn't. It didn't make a difference. Not even in the end, I didn't think it made a difference because it was a great match in itself. Kevin definitely was a team player in it, and everything was together. It was awesome. So I was glad to see the match as it played out the way that it did. Everything about it was good.
Right.
The ending it wasn't surprised. It was surprising to me. I think the ending was very surprising to me, and I just didn't really know how else to put it. Like,
right.
I really didn't expect that to happen, and I really didn't expect it to play out that way. You know, especially, I mean, granted, Kevin Owens himself was speaking so much about how he was going to hurt him, and I'm going to hurt him, and I understood that. To me, wrestlers talk that stuff all the time, you know. Yeah, I'm going to destroy him, you know, I'm going to it's always, something like that is always said all the time. But for it to end the way that it did, I was done. I really had to say I was done.
Yeah, I think they're building this where Sami has to come back again, and then he's going to have that big triumphant win over Kevin. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know at what point. It may not be at NXT. It may be on the main roster when they both go up to the main roster. Because I think both of them will be there sooner than later. And I think Kevin is going to have the belt for a little while, but then he'll come on to the main roster. And that feud will continue, and it'll just grow a little bit more organically, right?
Right.
Now, the big surprise of that night was while Kevin was about to really go into Sami Zayn, Sami got some help from none other than Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came down and came face to face with the man, Owens.
Exactly. It was so shocking to some. For others that had heard the rumors and was just waiting for it to happen, this was that moment. You know, because for most of us, it's always said like, oh, such and such signed with them and such and such signed with them. This was confirmation. This was confirmation that Samoa Joe is here and this is actually happening. And he looked so strong. Without even doing anything, he looked so strong and just ready. And it was so weird looking to me because I spent years, I spent years watching him in TNA, you know? So it's still weird to me to see him in a WWE ring. Period. Like, even if it is NXT, like, to see him in a WWE ring, period, is just, that's something I'm going to have to get used to. Like, I would have to watch this every week, to see him there every week, just to get used to this. I mean, the rest of the world is turned upside down. Understand this. Yeah.
The WWE roster is as loaded as it's been in years. Because if you look at the names that I'm calling up from NXT, I mean, think about it. They did a shot in the audience during the pay-per-view of the incoming class with Uwan Nation and the guys that's coming in with him.
Right.
No, it's loaded. I mean, it's so many guys at NXT that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get on the main roster. We still got a log jam on the main roster. We developing Dolph Ziggler still. I don't know what Sheamus is going to do, but Wade Barrett is a guy. We just got Neville on the main roster.
Right.
Seth Rollins is still part of it. Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Cena, Rusev. Who knows what's next for Rusev? The Wyatt family. Who's next? What's next for them? So, I mean, I think it's going to be time to do the brand split again. There's no time to just look. You got some SmackDown guys or some Raw guys, and let's see what comes out of it, right?
Right.
But all in all, very impressed. Joe had a nice speech when he came in. And, you know, he's here to be the best and take on the best. I don't expect him to be in NXT long.
No.
By most reports, they say he's not scheduled to be there long. So he'll have a few feuds, and he might have one big dust-up with Kevin Owens. And that would be the first time Owens can't be the bully. So he'll be backing up and trying to reassess to try to get an advantage some kind of way. Because he won't be able to bully Joe like that. He's not bigger and more intimidating. So he doesn't get to play bully cop with him. And they both are recently from that indie section. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think they'll be able to figure out, come to something a little clearer. But it's great to see him in there. I think he broke the internet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And that should be sufficient enough for them. Generally, we take a break. We're not going to take a break. We're just going to flow. We ain't got no birthdays today. No. So, pretty much, the next segment is the news. And the news is like pretty much one company is dominating the news in one way, shape, or the other.
Right.
And that's TNA right now, right?
Right.
Here's the bomb. Well, Dave Meltzer, respected journalist, founder of Pro Wrestling Observer. He's been doing it for years. He's probably the preeminent journalist in the wrestling community. Can't take that away.
No.
hold on right quick. You know, everybody who's doing what we do, who has websites and podcasts and all this stuff, we all chasing Dave. He's way out ahead. Like, he makes money on this. Like, this is how he lives. He doesn't do other. This is how he lives. Right? So I said, in my mind, we're all chasing Dave. Or if you're trying to build a magazine, you're trying to build Pro Wrestling Illustrated. You try to build PWI. That's what you're doing. You're not trying to. And those are the only people who probably not chasing Dave. Like, I think you going in one of those two lanes. Hey, man, he's been known to be a credible source and have solid information. Has he messed up in recent months, in recent years? Yes. Yes. Him putting CM Punk back a couple of times when he wasn't there,
right?
That's all him, right? I don't know if this one is true, but it has been reported as fact. Like, if you go to the Wrestling News Source, they're just saying that it is what it is. If you go to WrestleZone, they say it's been confirmed that Destination America has canceled TNA.
I don't really trust that too much.
But everybody's source is Meltzer.
Right.
So Meltzer Street Kid rides on this. And I like to give Dave the benefit of the doubt. I think he's been a credible journalist for a long time, but maybe his source might be a little bit misled.
Right.
And we don't know, right? I'll say this, and one thing that somebody brought up to me today, hey, when Taz bounced, that set up red flags for everybody. And, Taz said everything was good, but, he's not the kind of dude that's going to bury the company.
He never has been. He just leaves.
So, right. Now, here's the thing, too. That guy was at ECW, and he knew what it was like when ECW couldn't make payroll. He knew what the problems were when they couldn't cut the checks on time. One thing that has been pretty much accepted in the wrestling world is that TNA had trouble cutting those checks on time. They've had trouble with the touring schedule. They've canceled certain tours, which, some of the boys ain't been happy about because they want to make some money on those tours because they're not making the money that they used to make traveling and getting around, and you know what I mean? And then a lot of those guys used to make that money up by doing indie dates, but now a lot of that hasn't really worked out for them. So now we're in this weird place, and Dave is reporting that it's not going to happen, right? They're going to get canceled. Whereas no word is trickled to TNA. And I believe this. Destination America hasn't said anything to them about canceling them. So, how does that work out? Now, you Destination America, they pissed because they feel like even if it is true, they want to be the one to tell it. You know what I mean?
Bring it out. That's information that they...
Yeah, they don't want you breaking up with their girlfriend on social media. You know what I mean?
Because who wants that?
But yeah, no, nobody does. But, yeah, I mean, he hit it at something big was going to happen 2 days ago. And we reported that, hey, there was some talks that, things might not be together. Cage Side Seats and a few other people have reported that, hey, things might not be on the page for Destination America and TNA. But that don't necessarily mean they canceling the show either, right? They can have strife and not be getting along, but that don't mean they canceling the show. Now, I've heard they think about moving the show from Friday to Wednesday. True. Now, here's the thing. There's a mixed bag with that. I get not having a show on Friday, just like when WWE took SmackDown on Friday. Friday is a very niche TV market, right? But for the most part, it's a very hard market to get because it's Friday night. It's first night of the weekend. People ain't really trying to watch television. People drinking, getting out, going out to dinner. You know what I mean? There's no big primetime television series on Friday. Like, not since TGIF. And that was when families were less fluid and people actually did gather around the television. We're not that society anymore, right? Now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday. Thursday is a big money TV night. People gather around and watch television. Problem for TNA would be is that Lucha Underground already comes on Wednesday night. NXT, which is by far the most buzz programming in wrestling right now, hands down. Like, I'm not saying it's the most popular, but it's at least it's catching the most buzz. Like, it has the most street cred than any other brand right now. So if you try to come into that beast of a marketplace, where people are very excited about those shows, right, and try to compete for viewers, I mean, you better have your boots on. It's going to be rough. And then when you don't record live, and these shows are producing new content each week, whether it's live or not, it's becoming harder to contend. So, be interested to see how this all plays out. But it's to the point now, it's still got dirty, right? Like, when I wrote these notes up, we were just going to talk about, is it possible? Is it true? Yeah. Do we know? You know what I mean? And I can make a scenario for you where it could be close to true. Like I said, the product and the distribution channel just don't have the same audience.
No.
By and large. People who generally tune in to Destination America don't generally tune in to TNA Wrestling. Fact. That being said, it's a chance for them both to develop what we call crossover. And to convert some people. Because that's where you're going to make your money. Your money isn't getting new people. Destination America wants more than just some old people who watch barbecue. TNA needs to build on, besides a bunch of people who follow wrestling on the internet, to a more mainstream, casual wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Like, what funds the WWE ship is the casual fan. Like, let's say there's 10 million people who watch WWE every week worldwide, right? Those are a million like us that will watch wrestling to watch wrestling, and we love wrestling. The other 9 are casual. They in or they out, and you got something that keeps them coming back.
Right.
Right? So, I think TNA has to figure out how to grow more casual fans. Like, I think the people who watch TNA by the large part are more just diehard wrestling fans. Who really want to watch wrestling. Now, exactly. Now, understand this. At the peak of the Monday Night Wars, there was 12 million homes watching wrestling all on the same night, whether it was watching WCW or WWE. Like, the WWE ratings were way higher now when they were losing to WCW. Not winning, but losing to WCW. They were getting a higher market share, right? And more people watching every week. So, just understand that those people like disappeared. This was only like 11, 12 years ago. Well, maybe 13, 14 years ago now. But they haven't all died off. You know what I mean? There's about 8 million people there that just don't watch wrestling no more. If you can reel in 3 million of that, you know what I mean? And turn that into cash, and turn that into pay-per-view buys, where not maybe 3 million, but 300,000 of that 3 million are pay-per-view purchases, just 10%. You have a very viable product now. Mind you, you don't have the production costs of the WWE, so you could probably profit a lot bigger, quicker, right? So, where do you go? And they're trying to do that with Destination America. And it's too early to know if it's all working out. But since people live in this microwave world where things need to happen right now, I can see where the network might be frustrated. I'm not telling you Meltzer's lying. I'm just saying everybody is accepting this as fact based on what one guy has said. Period. Based on what one dude said. Now, he does, like I said, he is the guy, if there's one man who sits on the top. I mean, like there's him, there's Bill Apter, and then there's kind of everybody else. You know what I mean? in that tier of respected wrestling journalists, you know what I mean, that people cite. After, has better working relationships with people because he's, I'm not going to say not as tabloidy, but he's more of a historian and more of a fact figure kind of guy. I don't know where I model myself after. I think I'm more of just a hybrid. I'm more old school knowledge, back in the day, whatever, and I like to try to book and predict and, you know what I mean, but I'm not into the gossip side of it. So it's kind of a, I don't know, like, I guess I'll let others judge me as a journalist in this genre, right? But I think when you get sources and you stick your neck out there, I give Meltzer credit for being brave enough to stick his neck out there saying, hey, this is going down. Because if anything changes in the background without him knowing, he's going to look crazy. That's why I put on Twitter, his street cred is up for grabs right now. Vince Russo even commented on this. Russo, he was kind of throwing ether at Dave. Man, he's had his own relationship with TNA, whether he's been involved or not involved, that's all kind of, neither near nor there. But, yeah, Russo is like, hey, you don't know. He even said to the effect, hey, a shred of the truth is not necessarily the truth. So even if it's kind of true or you got some inkling, it ain't necessarily the real. We'll have to see. When Destination America announces they fall lineup for 2015 going in 2016, we'll find out if Impact is on it. That's how we'll know. Because even when Spike canceled them, they want to keep it quiet.
Nobody wants it to be put out there and immediately. Like, they want it to be silent. And
well, no, I think they want to maximize their ratings for the program as long as they have it on their air.
But if you know that it's going off the air,
so
like if you know that it's never going to be there anymore, then of course you're going to stop watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, Keish. All right, yeah. I mean, as we were talking about this, Keish, even more keeps coming out.
Of course.
Now, Meltzer is saying it's sad Billy Corgan has become Vince Russo. Like, I mean, people it's getting personal. Because basically, I guess, he said, this is what he said. Sort of sad about Corgan. His words are almost identical to Russo about Mike Johnson when he did that story last year. I'll be fine being Mike Johnson, but quite sad that he's the Vince Russo. Like, we mudslinging already, right? Because people, like, I would say, look, if I'm in TNA brass, you basically try to put a death nail to us, right? Everybody's trying to say they're going out of business anyway. And they got investors and they got people involved like everybody else. And you try to say, hey, man, they going out of business. Because if this deal goes through, that sinks it. Now, they just brought on Billy Corgan, like, a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think that they would be bringing him on if they just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They knew that this was coming down the pike. So, yeah, I mean, right now it's getting ugly. The mudslinging is everywhere. Like Russo blames him. And now, look, TNA issued this statement in response to the cancellation. A statement from Impact Wrestling. It has come to our attention that several internet news sources have falsely attributed statements to TNA, its executives, and broadcaster partner. These false statements constitute defamation, and if necessary, we will seek all legal remedies available to us. They threaten to sue y'all in these streets over this. That's how bad it is, Keish. They are threatening to sue people. And you know what they're going to sue them for? Damage to a professional relationship. Because you are making it hard for them to conduct a professional relationship with a partner. And, you know what I mean? By having false rumors in these streets. So, once again, this is going to get worse before it gets better. And somebody's reputation on the line. a lot of people's reputations on the line because it's not just the Observer and every other news outlet that's reporting what they saying is fact, but TNA's reputation on the line because
right.
if they get canceled, it's like
So it's a lot of stakes.
all of them was right.
Most of the wrestling reporters, they feed off of each other. You know, oh, this was said here, let's report it on ours. Oh, they said this, let's report that too. Like, they feed off of each other. So with all this being spread around and being said about multiple people, it's already become an issue, especially if it's being reported that it's not true. That in itself is just a killer for a lot of reputation that has been based off of the things that have been said by these people. TNA's reputation is the biggest that's on the line, considering the fact that they've already moved from one channel to the next. It's been reported that their company is just tanking. Like, slowly and surely, it's just tanking, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. This doesn't help. There's nothing about this situation that's helping. There's nothing being said about this that's helping. There's no positive to this right now. The only positive about this situation would be if it's not true. Period.
If you want to add to TNA's bad press that's going on right now, the PWI Insider is reporting that, hey, and it's also a separate report from ProWrestling.net, that TNA is being sued by Eric Bischoff, Jason Hervey, and Garrett Bischoff. Basically for breach of contract, because they didn't get paid for like the last few things that they've done. A lot of people don't know Bischoff's company that he has with Jason Hervey was contracted to do a lot of the production for the TNA television show. And right now they had a pay-to-play contract stipulation, meaning that the promotion was supposed to pay them whether they use them or not. And it was contracted an annual amount of $426,000 for their roles as executive producers. And I guess they say they suing for like $100,000 of that. Garrett suing for $13,000. He was supposed to be paid from a similar contract, and that he didn't finish up getting his money off of. Now, this is actually easy to prove, because if they file lawsuits, that's a matter of public record and on the domain somewhere. So we can find them lawsuits somewhere and clear that up sooner than later. But that's just more bad press for a company that's been getting hit right now. And you know what they're doing tonight for Impact, Keish?
Really?
They're showing Slammiversary 2014. Yeah. Rumor is Destination America felt like it would be a waste of time.
Yeah.
On Memorial Day weekend trying to run a first-run program. So the answer would be to run, an old pay-per-view, and then come back and try to use that new programming next week.
It would be interesting.
Don't know how that's going to play. Yeah, but we'll see how it works out. But and I think that adds to the speculation of what they might believe to be a contentious relationship. And that might be the reason why people thinking about moving to Wednesday night. But we'll see. That's happening. Like I said, it's been crazy. And I mean, that's what's been dominating the news cycle of wrestling right now. Other than that's it. And you want to keep talking TNA?
Yeah, he
Josh
is.
Matthews is a bitter ex-WWE employee.
He is. Oh, man.
But yeah, Josh is a bitter old WWE employee. Like, I remember, with the Connor thing, he had that long, drawn-out thing, basically just saying that they was using Connor. You know what I mean? And Ultimate Warrior. You gotta put ether on that. Now he mad because they didn't hire Samoa Joe. Like, he like, how did NXT announcers know who Samoa Joe was if we were in obscurity in their world? Sick of the hypocrisy. Like, really, dog? Like, damn, like, he's just bitter, man. It's like, look, most promotions don't acknowledge the other promotion, but hey, they can't look stupid while the whole crowd shouting Samoa Joe, Samoa Joe. They can't look dumb.
Exactly.
Also, hey, he was a big independent sensation before he came to TNA.
Right.
He was in ROH, and the WWF has made it no mistake that they're very familiar with Ring of Honor, which he went back before he came to WWE. So
exactly,
they'll make no mistake. They're gonna say he wrestled all over the world, which he has, and that's gonna be it.
He is mad.
So
he is mad.
Yeah, like I just thought that was funny. I was like,
and it's like,
is bitter.
Will you ever get over it? Like, I don't think he'll ever just kind of move past it. You know, I think that's what some people do it, some people don't. Some people go on and they just be like, I left that in my past. That was just over and done with. He hasn't gotten that point. He hasn't gotten to that point. Like, he's still like, this sucks. They suck. This is awful. Sir, can you focus on where you're at now and be done with it already? Like, I'm gonna really need for you to calm down.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that happened. Gail Kim went at Vince on Twitter. Her words that I quote: "At least Triple H has a clue how to book women." At Vince McMahon needs sexist.
Exactly.
Hashtag women can main event any day. Like, oh wow, that's where we're going with this. Which kind of true. You know what I mean? Vince books women a lot different than Triple H. He even signs women to the roster a lot different than Triple H. So we'll see how that works out going towards the future. Because I said I don't know how the NXT women are going to integrate with the main roster women because it's very different. One has a style of wrestling, the other has just, we're here, rah, 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 rah. Okay, so try to mix that in is going to be crazy. And while we are out here and we've talked about TNA's legal fights and trouble and people slandering them, are you familiar with the Big Vito lawsuit against the WWE and other former WWE talent who want to sue them over concussions because they basically done spent all their money on coke and strippers?
Hey, listen.
No, I'm editorializing here, but there's a groundswell of a lot of wrestlers who are trying to sue. Not a lot. There's a few. I won't say a lot. There's a few who want to sue the WWE and come up with a class action lawsuit over concussions that they may have had.
Right.
And some of these talents were like developmental talents that was in developmental for like a year or two. You know what I mean? So listen to what Vito posted on the blog. I know all of you out there have viewpoints on this lawsuit, but if you never stick up for yourself, you never know what can be and what can't. If you are in Deep South OVW as a developmental talent, you also have rights. If you have a problem and think you need help, please join me in a lawsuit. I am in litigation in. If you have medical records that you are positively ahead of the game. If you are an enhancement talent at WWF, you also qualify. If you think you are irritating WWF, the WWE, and think if you join, you will ruin. Come on down.
Okay.
Scroll down too far there, Keish. Actually clicked on a whole nother article here. Yeah, if you are an enhancement talent in WWE, you also qualify. If you think you are irritating the WWE and think that if you join, you will ruin your chances, and the business has changed. Changed, guys. If they are not called you in 5 years, they are not going to call you. And it goes on, and they talk about how the NFL had a lawsuit, and those guys got benefits, da-da-da-da.
Right.
He leaves his number and his lawyer's number. Here's the thing. This is why these dudes ain't gonna
Right.
get no money, Keith.
That's one thing.
First, you gotta prove all the concussions and the medical problems happened while you were in the WWE.
Yeah, I mean, seriously?
Also, like Vito.
Come on now.
Most of his problems probably happened in ECW.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
serious. Most of his injuries
And
occurred in
he was doing
ECW.
way more other
Getting
stuff.
beat up
Come
with Paul
on now.
Heyman for $25 a night. Like the most he was. Yeah. The most he ever did in WWE was like a year or two, and it wasn't stellar.
Right.
Like, he was never in no matches of any consequence that would require him to do anything that dangerous while he was in the WWE. So, that's that, right? Like, most people don't even remember Big Vito from the FBI or whatever. Like, most people don't remember it. And a lot of guys, like, one of the guys that was on was like a developmental talent that was in like Deep South, and there was a guy who was down at FCW for a little bit of time, and they both was in there for like less than a year. Look, you probably been wrestling on the indies for like 10 years. So when you was in a barn somewhere and you dived through like 8 tables at the pool hall, you know what I mean? That concussion don't count for the WWE. So that's probably. And you can't prove all that damage happened there when you were sitting there. That's what the WWE lawyers gonna do. They're gonna find all y'all old school matches that's on YouTube from these hole in the wall indie promotions, and gonna be like, play. That didn't happen in the WWE.
Well, you flying off
that
a random, you flying off a random road.
Whatever your medical records got is full of shit.
Getting hit with random shit and other companies. Come on, dude. Like, you're not gonna. This argument is not gonna. You might as well quit it. Just stop it. Because you're not going to win this. You're not. Like, they're going to be pulling out things that you were doing for years and years before you even hit their company. And then be looking like, okay, so this is what you was doing beforehand? Pretty sure you were messed up before you even got to us. We didn't make it any better or worse. And I'm pretty sure after the fact, you made it 10 times worse. So, come on, dude. Like, you really think that that's going to happen? Mm-mm. It's not. Sorry. You're not getting anything.
So, no, that's pretty much a good deal.
Man.
With that, Keish, I think we out. We went longer than we thought we was going to do. But, good quality audio never sacrifices. We'll be back next week about Wednesday or so or Thursday with the Elimination Chamber preview. And that's wow, man. See, I'm telling you, they're gonna keep us busy. Cause I'm gonna be doing we're gonna do a chamber recap after that. Then you know what? It's gonna be time to preview
I think that's next. Money in the Bank? So yeah, so, hey, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. With that, like I said, go to www.audibletrial.com/Ringtime Pro Wrestling. Get your free audiobook trial on us. We love you.
We'll be back.